had to go to our mall this I had to go to our
Hey, Kevin.
mall this afternoon to meet with another alcoholic, and it's spring break here, and it just about drove me right out of my goddamn mind. I'm thinking,
All right, there we go.
There we
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen drunks. My name is Kevin Olson. I'm a recovered alcoholic.
"Hey,
Hey,
Kevin."
Kevin.
I want to welcome you all to the fourth dimension. Big book study, that is. I'm glad you guys are all here. I know I'm glad I'm here. Always happy to be in the fourth dimension with y'all. And I never feel more alive than when I'm sharing the message of Alcoholics Anonymous with a group of like-minded individuals and my brothers and sisters. And anytime I'm in a meeting of AA, my wants and my needs are the same. I need to be here and I want to be here. And I'm glad to be here with you. So with that said, guys, we will begin with the set aside prayer, as we always do. Oh. Dear God, please help me to set aside everything I think I know about you, about me, about my fellow man, about the 12 steps, and please allow me to gain a fresh new vision, perspective, and understanding of what you, what me, what my fellow man, and the 12 steps are all about. Amen. And as this is the fourth dimension big book study, I always like to read the two parts of our book that refer to the fourth dimension. So first of all, on page 8, Bill Wilson writes, I was soon to be catapulted into what I like to call the fourth dimension of existence. I was to know happiness, peace, and usefulness in a way of life that is incredibly more wonderful as time passes. And then on page 25, Bill Wilson writes that we have found much of heaven and we have been rocketed into a fourth dimension of existence of which we had not even dreamed. Okay, we're going to be catapulted. We're going to be rocketed. And for all who would, for the sake of tradition and custom of the fourth dimension big book study, everybody please put one hand up like this. You too, G. There you go. Everybody put another hand up like this. And everybody go, oh, yeah. I love seeing familiar faces doing it and loving it. And I love seeing new people on the call being like, what is this? Where am I? You're in the fourth dimension, baby. That's where you are. That's where you are. And welcome to it. Okay, so we're on step 11 tonight, functionally. I love step 11. I think step 10 and step 11 are very intertwined. And I'm going to talk about thank you, Rob, for putting that little post there of primary purpose group. That's excellent. Highly recommended. If it feels ever, guys, like I'm trying to sell you on primary purpose group, it is not because I profit from the sale, but only because I am a satisfied customer. I love primary purpose group, and I hope that you guys will all come join us either in person or online. So we're on step 11. I wanted to just touch back quickly as well on step 10. I see, I'm going to try to open here and see if I still have this. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's do just a little bit of review on step 10. I just wanted to open the document and make sure that I had it, and I do here. So okay, so you'll see here in terms of step 10, we look for 4 things and we do 4 things. Okay, and so that's on page 84 in our book. So let's go to page 84. Let's see what page 84 actually says. So on page 84 in the paragraph, it says, this thought brings us to step 10. If you look down, it says we have entered the world of the spirit, which I know that line resonated with my friend Andy last week. But you'll see here, and this is the direction. It says, continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. 4 things. When these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. We discuss them with someone immediately, make amends if we've harmed anyone, then we turn our thoughts to how we can resolutely turn our thoughts to how we can help others. Okay. We look for 4 things and we do 4 things. That's really step 10. Look for 4 things, do 4 things. We continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. Okay. And this is where the steps kind of overlap a little bit. Okay. Because to my mind, steps 6 and 7 are really about that awareness as well. Okay. And being mindful of myself and learning. And this is how we're going to interweave it into step 11. Learning through meditation that there is a level of consciousness above my thinking mind. Okay. And I didn't know that. Okay. I didn't know that my thought life could take on new meaning when it was placed on a higher plane. That's what it means. And I'm much better at looking at myself and my behavior, continuing to look. Where have I been selfish? I mean, step 6 really is about even admitting that I am selfish, that I am dishonest. Okay. But then step 10 is about continuing to look. I've already looked in step 4. I've admitted it and kind of conceded it, ready to have it removed in 6, humbly asking God to remove it in 7. I get a much better lens into it in steps 8 and 9 when I go and make amends to people and let them tell me about my selfishness. And that kind of smarts a little bit. There's a definite humbling there that happens. Then in step 10, I'm continuing to look, continuing to see where have I been selfish, dishonest, resentful, or frightened. When those crop up, number 1, I ask God at once to remove them. Ask God to remove them. Talk to someone else about them. Make amends if I've harmed anyone. Then turn my thoughts to how I can help others. Okay. And we talked about this last week. You know, for a lot of people where I live in Calgary, there's this obsession with step 10. And people will call you and say, hey, I've got a step 10. Can I do some step 10 with you? And what they mean is they want to call and talk about themselves. Okay. They want to call and talk about their inventory. We talked about this last week. My grand sponsor, Clancy, says, inventory sometimes can become a publicly acceptable form of self-obsession. And I think a lot of people where I live anyway are focusing on that one part that says we talk to someone else if these crop up. Okay. And they believe that is the most important part of those 4. Ask God to remove them, talk to someone else about them, make amends if we've harmed anyone, and then turn our thoughts to how we can help others. Go help someone else. So some people would say that the most important part of those 4 is talking to someone else about them. What do you guys think? I think, and I am taught by my sponsor, is the most important thing to do, rather than Richard. Okay, Richard, it's okay if you can't unmute. Richard, I think you know the answer. So I'm going to get you to hold up the number of fingers in terms of those 4. And when I hit it, you hold up the number of fingers. Do you think the most important thing? Oh, I can't see the number. I can't see what you're holding up there. Do you think it's number 1, asking God to remove them? Number 2, talking to someone else about them? Number 3, making amends if we've harmed anyone? Or number 4, going to help someone else? Everybody, hold up 4. Hold up 4 right there. That is the secret, brothers and sisters, all the time. Let there be no mistake. That is the secret antidote in Alcoholics Anonymous, without question. Someone on this call knows I experienced this just yesterday. It was reaffirmed in my life once again that the most important thing I can do when I am tangled up in life is to get out of my head and go help someone else. When I am thinking about someone else's suffering, what am I not thinking about? My own suffering. And as God would have it, brothers and sisters, and this was reaffirmed to me yesterday, I went and helped someone else I did a Zoom call with someone, a friend, a beautiful, dear friend of mine. He's like a brother. He might actually be on this call right now. I know he loves this study. We went through his step one. We went through the cycle story, you know, and how many countless hundreds of times have I done that with a sponsee? Countless hundreds. And you would think by this point, it would have absolutely no effect on me whatsoever. And I will tell you guys, I was transformed in that call. I was lifted up by him, by being of service to him. So, asking God, of course, talking to someone else, great, making amends if we've harmed, for sure. But I'm here to tell you that selfishness and self-centeredness is the root of my troubles. It was the root, it is the root, and will always be the root of my troubles. Okay? And God has given us a fail-safe plan to get out of that thinking, and that is turning our thoughts on how we can go help someone else. Okay? It works when all else fails. You know that first line in the chapter, Working with Others? Practical experience shows that nothing will so much ensure immunity from drinking as intensive work with other alcoholics. My experience is that it's not just immunity from drinking, it is immunity from restlessness, irritability, discontent, the spiritual sickness, and alcoholism. When all else fails, go help someone else. See how I can be useful to someone else, okay? Especially when I don't want to. And, you know, for me, you know, and actually Emmett Fox, I was just reading Emmett Fox the other day, great spiritual writer. We'll talk about that in step 11 here in a moment. He says, if you have a problem, the worst thing actually that I can do about that problem, you know what it is? The worst thing I can do, if I really want to solidify the problem and make it much more powerful, is go talk to a bunch of people about it. Now that sounds contrary to our psychoanalysis, therapy, pop psychology world, doesn't it? But what Emmett Fox says is really when I lift my thinking above the plane of my problem to the plane of thinking about God, that's what we call the golden key. We're going to get into that in a minute here in step 11. Okay. So it's good to talk to people about it. I certainly keep my sponsor up to date on what's going on with me. But the real solution for me is not to go talk to my sponsor for an hour about my problems. The real solution for me is to go talk to one of my sponsees for an hour about their problems. Okay. And this is my experience, but that is irrefutable and well confirmed in my own experience and certainly in this book. So really quickly on step 10, I'm going to share this again, you guys. The 3 types of inventory from a time perspective in step 10. Okay. So first of all, there's the spot check inventory, okay, which is me right now, right here, in the moment, either becoming aware of what I'm about to say and restraining my tongue and pen and not saying the thing. MYOB, KYMS, mind my own business, keep my mouth shut. Okay, I just don't have to say the thing, and God forbid I do say the thing, I can retract it right away. Guys, let me tell you something. There are times where I still will catch myself in, I don't want to, okay, they're lies. That's what they are. They're lies, okay? They're not just exaggerations. They're not just embellishments. I lie, okay? And I will catch myself immediately. And I'm here to tell you, if you clean it up in like the first 10 seconds after it comes out of my mouth, people will let it go immediately. Right? You just say like, oh, actually, I should correct that. That's not entirely true. What the reality is, whatever. And man, that feels good to do. I'll tell you. And then I'm going to talk today about how this is related to step 11 and mindfulness meditation for me. Okay. So that's the spot check taken during the day, our daily ups and downs. Then we have the daily or nightly inventory. Okay. Some people are morning people. Some people, I'm a nighttime guy. I take my inventory at night. And that's kind of where I have my routine. We look at the ups and downs of the day. We take a look at, what have we done well? And there is a list of stuff that we're going to read actually today. And this is, again, 11 and 12 are really intertwined. What a lot of people consider to be their step 10 inventory at night technically is in step 11 in the big book. That's how intertwined they are, okay? And then I think it's also important to mention in the 12 and 12, it talks about an annual or semi-annual house cleaning. Many of us go in for an annual or semi-annual house cleaning is what it says. And that means that we are also doing a major clean of our lives on about an annual basis. The analogy I like to make, we're taking the cleaning house analogy. Most of us will do daily or nightly cleaning in our house. We make the bed, we clean up the dishes, we take out the garbage, we do daily, just general stuff. But none of us, I don't think, wash the windows on our house on an annual basis, do we? Or on a daily basis, rather. Nobody washes the windows on their house on a daily basis. How often do we wash the windows on our house? Probably about once a year. We do spring cleaning, we wash the windows, right? Would you guys agree with that? What happens though, if I do all the daily cleaning around my house, but I never ever wash the windows and I let it go 20 years without ever washing the windows and doing that big clean? What happens if I don't wash the windows? What will start to get blocked out? Sunlight of the spirit will start to get blocked out little by little by little. And I'll just finish on this in terms of step 10. Joe and Charlie talk about if I'm going to stay sober and I'm going to enjoy a happy, contented sobriety, I am going to inventory. I can put it off and put it off and put it off and put it off until I'm so sick that I'm almost drunk. Or I can do a little bit every day, daily and nightly inventory. Once a year, sit down, put pen to paper, go read it to my sponsor. And listen, guys, I want you to know, when I do this with my sponsor on an annual basis, it takes about 45 minutes. Okay. I'm not talking about, taking and replacing the transmission on your car every year. Okay. But we need to go and get a little tune up, don't we? On our car about once a year, right? General service, general maintenance. My sponsor, grand sponsor Clancy, talks about just general wear and tear in life, man. You got to go get the oil changed once a year. Okay. And they're quick little check-ins. They're quick little pick-me-ups, tune-ups. And some of you know, I've gone through a lot of transition these last 2 years, okay? I did a great step 5 with my sponsor in December at the State Line Conference in Las Vegas. We hooked up and that was a great step 5. And now I receive step 5s on a regular basis. On that note, if I may, I would just like to congratulate someone on this call right now, who I think, Danelle, is it accurate? It was her first step 5 today ever. Is that accurate? I would like everybody, Angela, give us a little wave, Angela. Angela did her first inventory today, her very first step 5 with Danelle. And so speaking of, and now you will move into the realm of the spirit, Angela, okay? The feeling that our Creator has entered into our hearts will really come closer to you. And the feeling that the drink problem has been removed will really start to come for you. And I know we've only met, I think, once or twice, Angela. I just want you to know we're all very proud for you, and we're all cheering for you, Angela.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Angela. Okay, brothers and sisters, let's get into action. And so let's go to page 86, or bottom of page 85. And is Brad on the call? I haven't seen Brad show up, but I didn't get a text from him. He's not here. Okay. Where is, you know what, Vincent? I know I ask you to read a lot, but I want to share the love on reading for tonight. Okay, Vincent? If you don't mind.
That's no problem.
I'm gonna ask Benjamin Collins. Ben, would you like to read for us tonight?
Yeah, I'll read, guys.
All right, man. We'd love to have you do it. I know you're such a devoted student of this big book study, Ben. We'd love to have you a little more involved. So
Thank
that's
you.
excellent. So step 11 is where we're gonna go. And you know what? I don't want to interrupt you. I'm just gonna read this first line. It says step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. Okay. prayer and meditation. That word "and" is something that needed to be pointed out to me by my sponsor. Okay, step 11 says, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry it out. Okay, I thought that step 11 said, sought through prayer and or meditation. Okay, like it was optional. Okay, because my sponsor said to me, Kevin, how are you doing with step 11? I said, yeah, great. Locked and loaded, man. Good to go. He said, really? Daily and nightly? I'm like, yeah, pray every morning, pray every night, several times throughout the day. I got you, boss. He's like, okay, great. What about meditation? You know, I don't really go in for that meditation stuff. It's kind of hippy dippy mumbo jumbo kind of stuff to me. I don't really, you know, but you know, I'm sure, you know, he said, oh, I see. So for you, step 11 says sought through prayer and or meditation. I see. For you, it's optional. It's like, okay. So I started, and I mean, I'm talking about, I was like 12 years sober when I started to change and evolve in meditation. And sorry, do we have everyone muted on the call? Somebody has like their radio on in the background or something.
I
There.
believe it's coming from Benjamin.
Yeah, that might be me.
Oh, he's unmuted because he's reading. Okay, so that's no problem. That's fine, Benjamin. That's great. So the I think that I was trying to stay sober, and I was trying to stay well on 11 and a half steps. Okay, and I can't stay sober and I can't stay well on 11 and a half steps. I had to introduce meditation in my life to get to the next plateau, to get to the next level. Okay, and I want to tell you that, like everything in my life with respect to meditation, and I mean like actual, for me, like Buddhist mindfulness meditation is the flavor that I like. That's what works for me. Something different might work for you, but we're going to do a little meditation together today. Okay, just a very quick little short one. Okay, to introduce y'all to it. For those of you who do it a lot, you'll love it. For those of you who don't do it at all, it's going to be really uncomfortable. I'm sure, as it is for everyone when it's uncomfortable doing anything your first time. Okay, but I needed to take direction. Okay, guys, if I am balking at any one of the steps, if I'm taking 11 and a half steps and saying, I don't need this other 0.5 in my life, what step is my real problem? Step one. Step one. I'm playing with fire, guys. I am playing with fire the second that I say, I don't need to do the whole thing. 11 and a half. I'm sure that there are people, because the problem is it's 11 and a half, right? And then it becomes 11. And then it becomes 10, and then it becomes 5, and then it becomes 3, and then it becomes 1, and then it becomes, I'm not going to my meetings anymore, I'm not talking to my sponsors, then it becomes a drink. That's how it works, man. That's how alcoholism, cunning, baffling, powerful, okay? Alcoholism to me doesn't happen overnight, man. It's a slow erosion, okay? The slow erosion, the slow breakdown. Remember we talked last week about walking up the down escalator? Okay, that's alcoholism. I got to keep moving, man. And for me, the next step was to start practicing meditation. So anyway, I'll talk more about that in a moment. I just wanted to say that first line, step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. Okay, Ben, over to you, brother.
Step 11 suggests prayer and meditation. We shouldn't be shy on this matter of prayer. Better men than we are using it constantly. It works if we have the proper attitude and work at it. It would be easy to be vague about this matter, yet we believe we can make some definite and valuable suggestions.
Okay,
When we retire.
Yeah, so what we're going to read next is actually what a lot of people refer to as their step 10. So retiring at night, a lot of people will say this is their step 10 nightly inventory. And I will say this is what I do for my step 10 nightly inventory. On awakening, they'll say this is the morning inventory. This is what we should do for step 10 in the mornings. It's actually, I'm just saying, is actually step 11. Also, I want to say when we talk about we can make some definite and valuable suggestions, I want to share a suggestion with everyone on this call when it comes to step 11 that I think is vitally, crucially important for me. And if you want to evolve, if your step 11 is feeling stale, or you've never really felt a strong step 11 connection, I have a suggestion for you. And it was suggested to me by a guy named Thor in Medicine Hat when I was living in the mental hospital. And you like that one, Ben? Yeah. Yeah, I was. I lived it. Yeah, I like mental hospitals. I like dating in mental hospitals. I find a lot of relationships in mental hospitals. Yeah, and that's not, I wish that wasn't true, but I once conducted Christmas choirs, Christmas carols. I had a guitar and we would play in the psych ward during Christmas, and we would sing Christmas carols with what I call the choir. Okay, the choir and I would play Christmas carols in the psych ward, and that was when a fellow named Thor told me, we were talking about prayer, and I was like, I'm not really, I was kind of praying like in the shower in the morning, or kind of laying in bed in the morning, or maybe, in the passenger seat in the car, and I'd be like, God, are you there? No, all right, never mind. Okay, and that was the extent of my step 11, and it wasn't really working. I was not really feeling the sunlight of the spirit. Okay, and this guy Thor gave me a very simple suggestion, and it changed my life. And I remember the very first moment that I did it was my first conscious awareness of the presence of God in my life, and that was the first time. And my suggestion to you, that was the first time that I got down on my knees to pray. It changed everything. I don't know why. There is something for me about putting my body in a physical position of humility. This body that presumably, according to most faith traditions, has been given to us by God. If you believe that we're in God's image or all that kind of stuff, you may or may not believe that. You don't have to believe that in AA at all. But there is something about putting my body and making that effort and taking that action. Chuck Chamberlain talks about my actions are my greatest prayers. That's what Chuck Chamberlain says. My actions are my greatest prayers. I show God what I want in nothing so much as in what I do and the actions that I take. Angela made a big prayer today by taking the action of step 5. That entire process was one big prayer. Do you guys understand that? You guys see what I'm saying about that? She is showing God in that action what she wants with her life, regardless of the words that we say. Okay, I don't think the prayers that we say, the words have to be fancy, okay? But there's something for me about putting myself in that physical position, taking that action of getting down on my knees, gets me connected before I even say a word, okay? I want to share something else with you. All of the world's major religions. Now, we are non-denominational, Alcoholics Anonymous, non-religious program, 100%. But I do want to point out that our book says to be quick to see what other religions have to offer, okay? So one thing that's unified across all religions, all of them, Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, Hindu, all of them, they don't agree on much, those 5 religions. But there is one thing that they all do. You know what that is? They all put their bodies in a physical position of humility when they talk to God. Every single one of them. There is something about that that gets us as human beings in a better position to receive. Okay. I never had a problem, by the way, and I joke about this with sponsees. I hope you don't find it off-putting, but I never had a problem getting down on my knees to puke in a toilet. Okay, when I was sick and drunk and hungover. Why would I have any problem getting down on my knees to talk to the power that's going to save my life? Okay. And by the way, that's what we're doing in prayer. We're talking to God. We're talking to God. That's what we do in prayer. It's when I stopped talking about God at that 3-topic discussion meeting and started talking to God like I do a friend. That's when I made that connection. And that's when things really begin to change. Okay. That's what prayer is. If you are here and you do not believe much in God, or you do not trust God, or you do not like God, or you feel that you hate God, I want you to know that you can tell God that. God's feelings will not be hurt. Okay? And I have learned that I can simply say, God, I don't believe in you today. I need to believe in you. I need to have more faith in you, God. Please help me to have more faith in you. Please, God, help me to trust you. God, I hate you. I hate you, God, for what you have done. I hate you for when you abandoned me when I was whatever, on and on and on. It's fine. It's fine. God, I hate you. I don't believe in you. I think all of this is just nonsense. I think I'm talking to open air right now, but they told me in that AA meeting that I needed to develop this relationship with you or I was going to get drunk and I don't want to drink anymore. So screw you. Amen. All right. Beautiful. You know what God does with a prayer like that? He smiles ear to ear, baby. Ear to ear. Nothing makes him happier, I believe. Sister Ignatia in the Akron Hospital said that that God's favorite sound is the voice of a stranger. Isn't that nice? God's favorite sound is the voice of a stranger, someone he has not heard from before, or a long lost friend. You ever heard that? You have a friend that you love and you haven't heard their voice in a long time and you hear it. And what do we think? Man, it's good to hear from you. Isn't it good to hear from people we haven't heard from that we love? Imagine how happy God is to hear from us if we haven't been talking to him on a regular basis. Somebody told me one time, they said, you know, if you talk to your children as much as you talk to God, would your children know that you love them? That's a good question. Some of us talk to God several times a day. I do now, but it wasn't always that way. That's for sure. Okay. So it's a relationship. And how are you going to build a relationship with someone we're not communicating with? Okay. And what are we asking for? Well, step 11 says only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Sometimes I have the power on my own willpower to go do the things I know I need to do. And sometimes I don't, man. Sometimes I don't, and I need God's help, okay, to align my will with his will. That's when we're beginning to use our willpower correctly, right? Go to page 85 right now. It says right there at the bottom of the first full paragraph, how can I best serve thee? Thy will not mine be done. These are thoughts which must go with us constantly. We can exercise our willpower along this line all we wish. It is the proper use of the will. Sometimes I'm able to exercise my own willpower along those lines, and I align my will with God's will, and all is well in the universe. I keep that little circle inside the big circle, no problem. And other times, man, that I start coloring outside the lines, guys, and that little circle is just spinning and bouncing all it can, doing anything it can to get it outside of that big circle. And I got to pray for God's power. Please, God, help me here. Please help me. And I've had a couple of trials over the last month where there is nowhere else for me to go but up. Okay. That is it. Seek up. Okay. So those are some definite and valuable suggestions that I can offer you in my experience in step 11 over the last many years. The last thing I'll say about it, it's one of the first suggestions that I give sponsees when I start working with them. I want you to call me every day for the next 7 days. That's direction number one. If you miss a day, we start over. If that happens twice, I help you find a different sponsor. Agreed? Agreed. Okay. Also, if you were going to live the AA way of life, it is necessary for me to pray every morning and every night without fail. I'm going to suggest strongly you do it on your knees. If you want what I have, you got to do what I do. I will be praying on my knees this morning and at night. That's how it works. In the morning with sponsees, I keep it simple. In the morning, simply ask for help. Help. And at night, simply say, thank you. Guys, can you see how if I simply took the action every morning with the intention that I don't want to drink anymore, and I want to stay sober in AA, and I want to change my life. All I did was get down on my knees in the morning and said, help. And at night, I got down on my knees and said, thank you. Can you see how simple that is, but how transformative that would be? To surrender my will to do something like that. My sponsor tells me there's spiritual surrender in just following directions. If I could just learn to just take those two, that simple direction, that's the first thing I do with sponsees. And notice we haven't even done step 2 yet, because I don't care if they believe in God yet. I haven't asked them to believe in God. What I've asked them to do is pray. And AA is a place where we pray whether we believe or not. I think that I don't believe my way into praying. I think that we pray our way into believing. You guys with me on that? I believe that 100%. I believe that 100%. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Collins, would you read, please, When We Retire at Night for us?
When we retire at night, we constructively review our day. Were we resentful, selfish, dishonest, or afraid? Do we owe an apology? Have we kept something to ourselves which should be discussed with another person at once? Were we kind and loving toward all? What could we have done better? Were we thinking of ourselves most of the time, or were we thinking of what we could do for others, of what we could pack into the stream of life? But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection, for that would diminish our usefulness to others. After making our review, we ask God's forgiveness and inquire what corrective measures should be taken. On awakening,
Beautiful, guys. So looking at that, looking at when we retire at night, right away, it's telling us twice there, thinking what we could do for others, if we were to drift into morbid reflection, it would diminish our usefulness to others, okay? Constantly thinking about how I can help other people is the most important thing in terms of getting out of my head. And there's no doubt in my mind, if my sponsor, Alan, was here, he would be instructing the same thing. Of those 10 things in step 10, asking God to remove, talking to someone else, making amends to others, that helpfulness to others is always the number one thing that I want to be thinking about. And so when I ask myself these questions, number one, was I resentful? Was I selfish? Was I dishonest? Was I afraid? Okay. And really, there's no was about it. It's like, where was I resentful? Where was I selfish? Where was I dishonest? And where was I afraid? Okay. And without question, at least one of those comes up in my life every day. Do I owe an apology? Have I kept something to myself which should be discussed with another person at once? So on and so forth. This is what most people will say. This is step 10 of the nightly inventory. And what I want to share with you guys, it's a helpful tool. It's something that I've used for a long time. It's just loading here. There's an app. Of course, there's an app for that, right? Everyone jokes about that, but I find this to be very helpful. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see. Can you see that? See, there's a picture of Bill Wilson there, right? And it's called the 10th step nightly inventory. I don't know, can you see? 10th step nightly inventory, okay? And this is all you do. Download it, it's free, okay? And you just click on, boom, nightly inventory. What's that first question? Can you see that? Where was I resentful? Okay, these are taken directly from this reading. So was I resentful? Yes. And maybe I write, no, I'm gonna put, no, I wasn't actually, I didn't have, no, I feel really good. I didn't have any resentments today. And that's the truth. So I'm gonna put no. You just press no in there and you go, next. Was I dishonest? This is taken directly from this reading, okay? So if you just go to the App Store and type in 10th step inventory, it's a super helpful tool. And I'll tell you why. Some people every night put pen to paper and do their written inventory. Good for them, okay? I'm not that guy, and I'm not going to be that guy, and I know it. And I try, here's what I do. You know, my Clancy says, I'm a 100-yard dash specialist. For 100 yards, I can be anything you want. And sometimes that 100 yards is, I'm going to be 10-step guy now. And so I go down to Indigo and I buy the special leather-bound book with the old parchment paper, and I get a big feather quill pen and a little inkwell, because this time I mean it. Every night written inventory. I mean it this time, okay? With and without solemn oath. And the first night, woo, that inventory night number 1 is awesome. Awesome. And night number 2, it's a good inventory. Good. Really, really good. And then the third night, I forget. And then the fourth night, it's like, no, but I'm back, baby. I'm back. We had a little blip, but it's going to be excellent again. A week later, I can't even find the pen anymore. Okay. That's the reality. Okay. Because life is busy and we get active and it's crazy. Okay. But look, what do I typically at night? What am I doing on my phone? I'm reading emails. I'm texting. Man, it's in my hand anyway. Hard for me to not click on the app and just go through these simple questions. Okay. Is it the world's most thorough inventory? No. Am I taking the action of doing inventory? Yes. Will that just even build my self-esteem a little bit in doing it? Yes. And I'll feel good about myself. My sponsor tells me, man, when I do good, I feel good. When I do bad, I feel bad. I can't do bad and feel good. And if I'm not doing my inventory, I know it. And it starts to eat at me. So that's just a quick little hack, if you will. We'll call it a recovery hack. Okay. Somebody built this app. Look, we're not alone. I'm not the only guy in the world doing this. There's an app for it, man. How many hundreds of thousands of people, you think, you downloaded that? Okay. So it's a helpful tool. It's something that I use, and I recommend it for you. It comes directly from the inventory that we just read. Okay, Benjamin, back to you on awakening.
On awakening, let us think about the 24 hours ahead. We consider our plans for the day. Before we begin, we ask God to direct our thinking, especially asking that it be divorced from self-pity, dishonest, or self-seeking motives. Under these conditions, we can employ our mental faculties with assurance, for after all, God gave us brains to use. Our thought life will be placed on a much higher plane when our thinking is cleared of wrong motives. In thinking about our day, we may face indecision. We may not be able to determine which course to take. Here we ask God for inspiration, an intuitive thought, or a decision. We relax and take it easy. We don't struggle. We are often surprised how the right answers come after we have tried this for a while. What used to be the hunch or the occasional inspiration gradually becomes a working part of our mind. Being still inexperienced and having just made conscious contact with God, it is not probable that we are going to be inspired at all times. We might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. Nevertheless, we find that our thinking will, as time passes, be more and more on the plane of inspiration. We come to rely upon it.
So that's a
We
beautiful, that is a beautiful promise, and that is certainly true. and we certainly do become more on the plane of inspiration. We certainly in AA do become intuitively inspired. But none of us are going to be intuitively inspired 100% of the time, ever. Okay? No one. I don't care how many times I work the steps. I don't care how long I stay sober, how much prayer and meditation I do. And it says we might pay for this presumption in all sorts of absurd actions and ideas. I would love to, in my life, avoid taking and making absurd actions and ideas. Wouldn't you? Okay? Don't you think that would be a good idea to avoid absurd actions and ideas in my life? And even worse, harmful actions and harmful ideas. So what's a really good way to check these inspired, intuitive thoughts that I have now that I've become so holy in AA? How about check it out with a sponsor? Sponsor. Talk to your sponsor about these great spiritual plans and ideas that you have. Man, I just got off a call with one of my sponsees. He just made a decision, and it could have been an absolutely life-altering decision that he made on his own. Now, thank God he's going to be okay. But I really had to remind him, hey, we all get these inspired ideas and these intuitive ideas. But even Bill Wilson writes, it's in step 11 in the 12 and 12. Even some of the greatest spiritual minds know that solitary self-appraisal is insufficient. That is one of the truest words written in our book in step 5. Solitary self-appraisal insufficient. Me on my own, looking at me, don't see things accurately. Okay? Why? Because I have an entire web of emotions and delusions. Brothers and sisters, on my own, I can make anything sound like God's will. Okay? You guys know what I mean? I can justify anything and make it sound like God's will. Funny how when I share the same thought with my sponsor, it suddenly doesn't sound like God's will anymore. Thank God. And he prevents me from taking these absurd actions and ideas if I just let someone else take a look at them. Okay? So it's really nice that in step 11, we do become inspired and our thought life is placed on a higher plane. Like I said, I have learned through meditation, there is a consciousness above this thinking mind. And it's beautiful to be in what we call observer mode. You might have heard that before, where I can see myself, I can see how I'm behaving, and I can stop myself from reacting in certain ways through God's grace. And it's beautiful. Okay, but never 100% of the time. And so I always, if I'm making any real big decisions in my life, and I'm so grateful for my partner in my life, because sometimes she reminds me the things that I have going on. Oh, I got this, oh, I got that. And she'll say, have you talked to Alan about that? Like, no, this one, I'm going to make my own decision. And I go take some absurd action or some absurd idea, and I get to tell Alan, I'm not perfect at it either, guys, but that is why we have sponsors. A sponsor has one most important qualification in terms of helping me with these things. One important qualification. You know what it is? He's not me. That's it. That's the number one most important qualification. He is not me. That's it. That outside perspective, he can give me judgment and clarity without any emotion attached to that plan or that idea. You guys understand what I'm saying? Okay. So back to you, Benjamin. We usually conclude.
We usually conclude the period of meditation with the prayer that we be shown all through the day what our next step is to be, that we be given whatever we need to take care of such problems. We ask especially for freedom from self and are careful to make no request for ourselves only. We may ask for ourselves, however, if others will be helped. We are careful never to pray for our own selfish ends. Many of us have wasted a lot of time doing that, and it doesn't work. You can easily see why. If circumstances warrant, we ask our wives or friends to join us in morning meditation. If we belong to a religious denomination which requires a definite morning devotion, we attend to that also. If not members of religious bodies, we sometimes select and memorize a few set prayers which emphasize the principles we have been discussing. There are many helpful books also. Suggestions about these may be obtained from one's priest, minister, or rabbi. Be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what they offer.
Yeah, guys,
As
and
we-
that's how I am today. That's how I am today, guys. And I want you to know, I take from everything. Okay, I've got a Bible, I have a Quran, I have a Tibetan Book of the Dead, I have all different types of spiritual reading, and I love it all, man. Hey, I was not fussy when I drank. Okay, hey Kevin, what do you want to drink? Well, what do you got? Okay. And it's the same with me in spirituality, man. I want the biggest buzz possible. I want the biggest buzz possible, and I want it all. And some of it resonates with me, and some of it doesn't. And some of it will resonate with me at different times, and other times, other things won't. One individual that I really strongly will suggest is a fellow named Emmett Fox. Okay. Emmett Fox wrote a book called, well, he wrote a book called Sermon on the Mount that is about the Sermon on the Mount that Jesus does, okay, in the Bible. And please don't get freaked out if I say that the J word, J-bomb, is my friend, my partner Danelle calls him J-bomb, right, Danelle? J-bomb, yeah, J-bomb. If J-bomb, freaks you out, okay, I get it, man. He made me freak out too. I didn't want to know, okay, but I've grown and I realized like a lot of that stuff is like pretty awesome. A lot of stuff in Buddhism is really awesome. A lot of stuff in Islam is really awesome, super helpful. Okay. And by the way, guys, part of the reason why step 11 is at 11 and not step 1 or 2 or 3, if all I needed to do was just come to AA and just get God and start reading spiritual material, we would have a 3-step program and no one would ever relapse. Okay, great, but it's not that easy. Okay, what's the problem? The problem is me. The problem is that there's too much me between me and God. Okay, and I got to clear me out of the way to let God in. And that's what the purpose of steps 4 to 9 are all about. Okay, clearing up the wreckage of the past and the resentment and the fear and the shame and the guilt and all those things that are cutting me off, so that in step 10, I can continue to remove them. In step 11, I can start to let that all in. Okay. You try to do meditation with a head full of alcoholism. That's cruel and unusual punishment, man. Okay. I remember going to treatment centers where they would have us sit in a big room full of people with our eyes closed and try to meditate. Like, good luck, man. I don't close my room in my eyes in a room full of people ever, because I don't trust anyone. No, there's not going to be any meditation for Kevin today, but thank you. Okay, I'll go back to volleyball therapy. Thank you very much. Okay. No, and it wasn't until I went through that work and began to feel better, and this started to quiet down a little, that finally I had the privilege of practicing step 11 and meditation and understanding what Emmett Fox is saying and understand. So I recommend Emmett Fox. Check him out. You will not be let down. Check out an Emmett Fox book called The Golden Key. The Golden Key. It's 12 pages long. I'm going to summarize it for you right now. If I have a problem, if I will stop thinking about the problem and instead think about God, the problem will be removed. That's the golden key. Stop thinking about the problem. Instead, think about God. 12 pages long. Emmett Fox. I think it's a free download. Go check it out. Anything by Emmett Fox is beautiful. So be quick to see where religious people are right. Make use of what we have to offer. Another individual that I love, and I never met him. I don't know him, but he was my teacher. His name is Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, Thich, Thich Nhat, Nhat, Hanh. H-A-H-N. If you've never known Thich Nhat Hanh, they call him Tay as well, T-H-A-Y. He died a little while ago. Tay, T-H-A-Y, that means teacher. They just called him teacher. Everyone around the world just called him teacher. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain the beauty in this man. You see a picture of him, he just, and maybe it's just me. Look, maybe you listen to him and you're like, ugh, I don't know. He's got this weird, annoying Vietnamese accent. I don't want to, no, he's not for me. I like this other guy. Great. Awesome. Keep seeking. Because I couldn't find my person either for a long time. And then one day, Thich Nhat Hanh just opened up my heart. And he taught me how to breathe. Thich Nhat Hanh taught me how to breathe. Okay? And before we leave today, I'm going to ask Ben to take us out of the rest of this. I'm going to teach y'all how to breathe. It's going to take 2 minutes. We're going to do a 2-minute meditation together. It's going to be beautiful. And it'll be great. And we'll end for tonight. So we might go a couple minutes over, but that'll be it. Ben, back to you as we go through the day.
As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times each day, "Thy will be done." We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works. It really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we have just outlined. But this is not all. There is action and more action. Faith without works is dead. The next chapter is entirely devoted to step 12.
Okay, and what I want to point out, it says here, as we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful. And what that means, agitated or doubtful, what that really means is when I am resentful or when I am afraid. Okay? Doubtful, when do I become afraid? I become afraid when I become doubtful. I'm doubting the power of God. I am doubting that I can trust God. I'm in doubt. I'm fearful. But that pause, the beautiful thing about mindfulness meditation is that it helps me to increase the length of that pause. I pause when agitated or doubtful. And if I can, that pause is everything. Mindfulness meditation has improved my personality for the better. It has removed my level of compulsivity, my impulsivity, and my reactivity. Because I used to go emotion reaction instantly, like a hair trigger. Anyone else like that here? I know you are. That's where we are. Okay. No, it's smoothed out my rough edges, man. Okay. And it's not through anything that I did other than just practicing meditation on a disciplined, regular basis. Every day, I do 10 minutes of mindfulness meditation every day. That would not be a lot compared to some. It's enough for me, okay? Well, thank you so much, Rob. You have that saved from last time, don't you? That's excellent. Thank you so much for that. That's exactly right, okay? Those simple actions, I got these actions from Thich Nhat Hanh. I simply focus on my breathing. Why? I used to think that, like, oh, God, focus on my breathing. Like, what are you talking about? Give me some action to take. That is an action, okay? And here's one of the things. I thought that mindfulness meditation meant clearing my mind of all thinking. That is impossible. Impossible. What I do in mindfulness meditation, on the contrary to my assumption, is I'm not actually clearing my mind of all thought at all. It's the opposite of that. I am making my mind full. Mindfulness meditation. I'm making it full of one thing. See, the Buddha knew clearing our mind of all thought is impossible. The best we can hope for is keeping it on one thing only. And what the Buddha teaches the best thing for me to focus on is my breathing. Okay? I'm going to blow your minds for a minute here because this blew my mind. Meditation actually takes a large degree of concentration. Concentration? What? I thought we were just supposed to like flow like the water and like, no, man, it's work. It's work. Concentrate. What am I concentrating on? Breathing. That is it. And focus. And yeah, my mind's going to wander. Concentrate. Things are going to move and come. Concentrate. I don't personally think about, oh, push the ideas away like they were pussy willows and like, no, concentrate. Concentrate on one thing. If my mind wanders, concentrate. Concentrate to meditate, okay? And that to me felt a lot more like tangible and something that I could do, okay? And I don't know, for me it works. I focus on, as I breathe in, I know that my breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. That's my in breath. I know that. We all know that. When I exhale, I know that's my out breath. As I breathe in, I know I am breathing in. As I breathe out, concentrate. I know I am breathing out. Okay, and we're going to do a timer, and I'm going to time it, and we're going to do one in a minute. Okay, the other instruction, as I breathe in, I calm my mind. As I breathe out, I ease my body. That's the other thing. Okay, so I breathe in. Okay, I focus on my breathing. Then, guys, I become aware of my body. Because here's the thing. If I'm focusing on my body right here and now, then where am I? Right here and now. Thank God. My problem is that I'm living in the past filled with resentment, or I'm living in the future filled with fear. But if I can just be right here, man, the only place in the world I can experience the consciousness of the presence of God is in the present moment. Did you know that? I can't experience God in the past, and I can't experience God in the future. I can only experience God right now. And if I'm focusing on my breathing and then become aware that I have a body, if my body is here, and just, now I used to hear that stuff and think like, God, get away from me. I don't want to focus on my body. What's wrong with you? That's creepy, man. Okay, look, I get it, and I was wrong. And I'm just here to tell you, if you feel that way, I get it. I understand. Okay, it was uncomfortable for me. Someone tell me to focus on my body. You focus on your body. Like, I didn't want to know, man. Okay, but I grew, and I've grown, and I want to share this with you because we're talking about step 11, and this is a righteous thing that changed my whole life. Okay. Then this is something that Thich Nhat Hanh, I did not know. I did not know this. I did not know you were allowed to smile when you meditate. Okay. It is an incredibly joyous, pleasurable experience to smile during meditation. And Thich Nhat Hanh says, when you smile, your central nervous system automatically relaxes. There are times I don't feel like smiling, but I smile. I take the action of smiling. You with me on that? It's an action. Just like getting down on my knees, I smile. And you know what follows when I smile sometimes? My mind. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. The other thing, last thing, and then we're going to do a meditation together. 2 minutes. 2-minute meditation. I'm competitive. I'm like Bill Wilson, man. I get these power drives. I'm going to show to the world how powerful I am and how important I am. Okay. So if I'm going to meditate, I can't do anything halfway. I can't do anything a little bit. If I'm going to meditate, I'm going to win meditating. Okay. If I'm going to meditate, I'm going to become the Olympic gold medal meditator. I'm going to beat you at meditating. I'm going to be the best meditator that you've ever seen. And therefore, I try it a little bit. And just like with the inventory that I talked about, I give up. I quit. Okay. And one of my sponsees, actually, Ashley, opened the door for me. They practice a lot of meditation. And they said, Kevin, you can start meditating just 30 seconds at a time. What? No. I bought the pass. I bought the app. I'm going to the retreat next weekend. No, I'm going to meditate for 3 days straight with no food and no water. And no, Kevin, you can just meditate for 30 seconds and it's going to be okay. And it's like anything, of course. You know, it's just typical of me. Like, yeah, I'm gonna run. Oh, you want to start jogging? Yeah, I'm running a marathon next week. Like, how about you try a 1K, Kev? Okay, and then grow from there. Okay, and start building it up. So we can start meditating for 30 seconds at a time. Tonight, we're gonna meditate for 2 minutes. Okay, and all we're gonna do, nothing fancy. All you're gonna do is breathe. That's all you have to do. Okay, and concentrate on your breathing. That's it. As you breathe in, concentrate on the air coming in through your nose. As you exhale, concentrate on the air going out through your mouth. Okay? And I will lead the meditation. Okay? So you guys all ready? There's nothing special you have to do. You're sitting wherever you are. You can meditate anywhere you are. Try to be relaxed and relax your body just a little bit. And we're going to do a 2-minute meditation, okay? Now, I'm not going to meditate because I'm going to lead this meditation for you guys. It's not easy to do both at the same time. I don't recommend trying to do both at the same time. But for right now, all I want you guys to do, sit, close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that. We're going to meditate for 2 minutes, starting, inhale now. As I breathe in, I know that I am breathing in. As I breathe out, I know that I am breathing out. Concentrating only on the breathing. Breathing in, I know I am breathing in. Breathing out, I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I calm my mind. Breathing out, I ease my body. I let everything at ease. I let my shoulders relax. I let my jaw relax. Breathing in, I know I am calming my mind. Concentrating on breathing only. As I breathe out, I ease my body. As I breathe in, I smile. And I know that I am calming my mind. Feel the smile on your face and feel your body relax with the smile. Feel the joy come in as we smile. I'm breathing in. I know I am in the present moment, focusing only on my breathing. As I breathe out, I know I am breathing out. And I know this is a wonderful moment. Breathing in, I calm my mind. Breathing out, I smile. All right, there it is, guys. That was a 2-minute meditation. Give yourselves a round of applause, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause. Good job. That's it. Who can't do that? Think about, and raise your hand if you're on TikTok. Oh, good. I love hearing that. All right. Raise your hand if you watch YouTube videos or you watch videos on Netflix, or you raise your hand if you've wasted 10 minutes today on something on the internet. Okay, there you go. Okay. So if I can waste 10 minutes of my time on the internet, and I mean waste it on like kitten videos or something like that, okay, I can find 10 minutes to meditate. Or just start with 2. That's the point. You can start with 2. The Dalai Lama says, meditate for 10 minutes every day. And if you find that you are too busy to meditate for 10 minutes, meditate for an hour. Okay, you guys, that's it. I love you all. I'm happy. Thank you so much. It's the greatest pleasure of my life to do this study with you guys. And